Alright, in the last video, I showed you how to kind of get relationships of the equations of linear functions and how those are how those affect how you plot them and all that stuff. Here we're going to show you what happens when we take those equations and we change the variables in those equations when we want to write perpendicular and parallel lines. Okay, it's not real hard. Okay, and we're going to go all from slope-intercept form. By now you should know how to go from the different forms of the equations, standard form, point-slope form, to slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form is the go-to form when you want to write or figure out how the equations look. Okay, so remember that is in the y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. Okay, so here we have an equation that y equals, and we'll go with I don't know, how about we do 5 thirds x, e minus let's do 2. Okay, so 5 thirds x minus 2. I just made that up off the top of my head. Okay, just want to fit it on here. Okay, and so to plot this, first thing I know is that my y-intercept, when x is 0, so if I plug in an x for 0, this whole thing becomes y equals 2. So when x is 0, y is negative 2. Right? So this is 0 comma negative, or sorry, 0 comma negative 2. Okay? So that is that. Right, now there's two ways to figure out the line from here. Right? I know that this is going to go up like this. Maybe I should have put my negative 2 over here. Or maybe I'll just hold off on labeling these until I draw the line. Okay, so there's two ways to draw it from here. Okay, I know that this line is going to go up 5. It's a positive. This is a positive slope, so it's going to go like something like this. Right? It's not going to go down from left to right. It's going to go up from left to right. So, and it's also going to go up 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and over 3, 1, 2, 3, because that's the definition of slope. Change in y for change in x. Right? So my line's going to look like this, like that. That's not a great line. Did not intercept great. It's going to look like this. Okay, that's a little bit better. Okay, a little bit better. It actually intercepts there and there. Okay, now my x-intercept is right there. It's not exactly clear to me what that line is. Like this point is 3 comma 3. Right, this point is 0 comma negative 2. What is my x-intercept? Well, it's not completely obvious to me. It's somewhere between 1 and 2. Right? So I got to solve for it. So 0 equals 5 thirds x minus 2. Bring the 2 over, it equals 5 thirds x. Bring the 2 over, it becomes positive 2. Multiply both sides by 3/5. Take 5 thirds, invert it, becomes 0.6, also known as 3/5. Multiply it by 2. So x equals 1.2, or 1 1/5. Okay, so this point here is 1 1/5, comma 0. Okay, so there's my line with my x and my y-intercepts. So it goes up 5 over 3, or it goes down 5 and to the left 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. To the left 1, 2. It would intercept right here if it kept on going. Okay. All right. So what about a line that's parallel to this? Okay. A line that's parallel to this. Okay. Here's the ticket with parallel lines. Okay. Parallel lines have equal slopes, but different y-intercepts. D-I-F-F-E-R-E-R-E-N-T, different y-intercepts. Okay, so say I wanted to shift this line. I wanted to shift this line up or down. Okay, the slope would stay the same. It'd stay a 3 change up and a 5 up or a 3 down. Like it goes up 5 and over 3, right? But the line's going to shift one way or the other, right? So the only thing that changes is that where it intercepts the y-axis at, right, and the x-axis for that matter, right? But the slope stays the same. So say for instance I wanted to intercept this at y equals like, I don't know, 5. Like, so my new line is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. B is now 5. So my new equation is y equals 5 thirds x plus 5. So this is my new y-intercept, is 0, 5. That's my new y-intercept. Okay. So now, what's my new x-intercept? Well, 0 equals 5 thirds x plus 5. This becomes negative 5 equals 5 thirds x. Multiply both sides by 3/5. 3/5 times 5 negative equals x equals negative 3. All right, so I'm going to go negative 1, 2, 3. And now here is my new line that is parallel to, my purple line is now parallel to my blue line, right? They're the same slope. This is my equation for it, right? But they're never going to intercept. They're never going to intercept. They are the same slope. All right, I go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and over 3, 1, 2, 3. Same slope with the intercept of 0, or negative 3, 0 for my x-intercept. Okay, so that is how you figure out parallel lines. You have the same slope, you just change the y-intercept. Okay, you can see here that this slope here, 5 thirds and 5 thirds, those are the same slopes. Okay, same slopes. Up 5 over 3. Up 5 over 3. Those slopes are the same. Okay, so but the only thing that changed was the y-intercept. This was 3, this was 5. Negative 2, this was positive 5. That's the only difference. Okay, now perpendicular lines are a little bit more complicated, but not that much more. Okay, let's say I have a line y equals, let's do, I don't know, how about 4 thirds. Let's do 4 thirds, okay? X, and let's do plus 2. All right, so we go up to positive 2. That's where it's going to intercept this y-axis at. And we're going to go down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 3, 1, 2, 3, right? And that's going to give us a positive slope, which is what we're looking for. Make sure we get it on the coordinate as best we can get. Okay, so that's not that great. Man, why am I always missing this stuff? Let's just make it fatter. Okay, so that's my purple line purple. Okay, and what's the x-intercept? I don't know. Let's solve for it. 0 equals 4 thirds x plus 2, so negative 2 equals 4 thirds x. So multiply both sides by 3/4. Multiply that by 3/4. 3/4. Right, that's going to become x, and 3/4 times 2 negative equals 1.5. Negative 1.5 equals x. All right, so this is 0 or negative 1.5 comma 0. That's that point. And this is 0 comma 2. This is like negative 3 comma negative 2. Okay, so that is my line with some points on it, derived from this line. Okay, so for perpendicular lines can have any y-intercept, doesn't matter, but the slope is opposite and reciprocal. Okay, so the opposite reciprocal is the opposite and reciprocal. So that means, like, so what does the opposite mean? It means I take the opposite, let's do the opposite sign. The opposite reciprocal. So opposite sign. Opposite sign. This is the opposite. Opposite sign and reciprocal. All right, that's the reciprocal sign. Okay. So the reciprocal, so like if it's y, change in y over the change in x, right? It's going to become the negative change in x over change in y. Okay. So say for instance here, like all I have to do here, it's the reciprocal. The reciprocal is going the slope. The slope here is 4/3. So the perpendicular line's slope is negative 3/4. Okay, so if I'm like, okay, my slope was 4/3, there's a button for that. There's a reciprocal, and make it negative. So there is my negative reciprocal. All right, so if I'm gonna write, let's say hey, write an equation for this line that passes for a perpendicular line that is perpendicular to the line 4x plus 4/3 x plus 2, right, and passes through the y-intercept of this line. So it's going to be, well, my y equals, got to be passed through the y-intercept, so it's going to have the same y-intercept, okay, and then it's perpendicular to it, so it has a opposite reciprocal. Oops, I wrote m. It should be x. X. Okay, so it starts at 2, 0, 2, passes through that line, okay, and then it's going to go up 3, 1, 2, 3, and then instead of this way 3, it's going to have a negative line. It's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Okay. So the other one went up 4 and over 3. This one goes up 3 and over 4, but the opposite way. It has a negative slope. So it's going to look like this. And there's my perpendicular line. Now this line would be perpendicular even if it had like a y-intercept right here. It would go up 3, 1, 2, 3, and over 1, 2, 3, 4. It would still be perpendicular. Still be perpendicular if it went down 3, say it went down all the way down to here, right? It would be up 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's still perpendicular. Still perpendicular, right, to that line, right? It just intercepts the line right here, right? Still perpendicular to that line, okay? But just intercepts the y-axis right here, and it intercepts this line right here, maybe, right? So no big deal. Okay. We'll talk about, we can get into different word problems a little later, like, hey, they pass through this line over here and it intercepts, so, whatever, right? But we can figure that out. I'll show you how to do that one a little later, a little bit higher concept. But biggest takeaway, opposite, reciprocal. All right, not that big of a concept. Hope you guys understand this stuff. It's pretty easy in my eyes.